My name is Cedric Courtney. I was exonerated in September 2012 after spending 16 years in prison in Oklahoma for an armed robbery I did not commit. God is good. It's a blessing and an honor to be among you all and be able to celebrate with my fellow exonerees and society. We appreciate all the women and men at the Innocence Project for all their diligent work. Thank you all.
My name is Damon Thibodeau. I spent 15 years in Louisiana on death row for a crime I did not commit. After I was exonerated in 2012 of September, I relocated to Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now, I have a job, an apartment, a car. I'm enjoying the simple things in life, like walking down the street a free man. And no matter how good the rest of my day is, no matter how sunny that day is, the best part of my day is I wake up and I don't see those bars every morning. Then reality sets in and I realize I'm no longer a stiff. I'm a working stiff. I have to get up and go to work. So I have officially rejoined the world, and it's a beautiful thing indeed.
Hello, my name's David Wiggins. I did 24 and a half years in Texas prison for a rape that I did not commit. I'm enjoying freedom. I can't explain to you the weight that's been lifted off of my shoulder, and I'm very grateful for another chance at life and just freedom and happiness and spending time with my family, getting married to my future bride, and it's amazing, you know, and I'm very grateful to all the people that have donated to that, and I just feel very grateful and blessed. Thank y'all very much.
Hey, we back, everybody. Welcome back to Conversations with Cogee. I'm your host, Cogee. Title of the show today, I've Been Falsely Accused, Part 8. I want to thank Ron for being on today. He's definitely Keine. He's definitely been on doing a great job today. And I just want to say that to all our listeners out there, I hope y'all really are listening and knowing that this is very serious. This show that I'm bringing today, the Falsely Accused show, is happening in every city, every state, everywhere around the world. Not only in Las Vegas, it's happening everywhere. But until we really reach out and do something to really stop it, shine a light on it to slow it up a little bit, it's going to keep happening. And as it keeps happening, it keeps depleting our families. It keeps depleting, the head of the households, the women of the households. I mean, it happens to women too. Not only men. So, Ron, your closing words before I break you out.
Words basically is when you see something wrong going on with society, you see people getting hurt, stand up. You don't have to stand tall, but you have to stand. You can't allow this to happen, because when you allow it to happen, it gets worse and worse and worse until we got a system like today where all this false prosecution stuff is rampant throughout the United States because we allowed it to happen. Our forefathers allowed it to happen. We got to stand up and say, no, you're not going to do that to human beings anymore.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right. You're definitely right about that. But, Ron, I want to say thank you, and I will be swinging you back through the show. You know I will, because I know you're going to keep fighting and keep doing, all your great work. And I want to hear about this road trip. And once again, can you tell people where can they go, to donate and, what y'all want to do real quick?
All right, you go to Kickstarter, which is a fundraising organization. Kickstarter, just Google that, and then look up Exoneree Tour. On Facebook, you can look me up. Ronald Keine, Keine, or Witness to Innocence, which is the organization I work for. We're all death row exonerees. And look up Exoneree Tour. If this tour is going to start on the 26th, it's going to end up the 3rd or the 4th in Austin, Texas.
Okay. There it is. So we'll definitely keep you on our radar. And like I said, I'll be praying for you, and I know you're going to have great success, because not only do you pray, but we also say that you are moving on faith, and that's what people need to do. All right?
Yes. Thank you much.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
You too.
All right. So, everybody, that was Mr. Ron Keine, who's definitely, like I said, been with us and definitely been bringing some great information on his show. We got Mr. Jeffrey Deskovic, who's still with us right now. What's up, Jeff?
I'm good, Cogee. How are you?
All right, I'm doing all right. So we got V. So V, before we got a special guest, Mr. Nick Yarris. He'll be coming in a minute, and I can't wait to hear what Nick's got to say. This is my man right here. Me and Nick, we stay going back and forth, on Facebook and everything, writing each other, giving that support, and that's what we need to do. You know what I'm saying? And me and Jeffrey, we do the same thing. We write each other back and forth, text each other. We stay in tune with each other because, like I said, when I go off the air, I'm really friends with these people. These guys on here, I'm really friends with them. And, I don't want it to be where we ain't friends. I want it to be where, we on one accord and we speak a lot so I can really feel their hearts and they can feel mine. And we ain't just doing a show. I don't like to just do a show and there's no feeling to it. I'm not really cool with these people. That ain't what I'm trying to do. I'm really trying to bond with these people and help bring the light. The same light that they trying to bring is what I want to bring. So I want to go to V real quick. V, real quick, give us those statistics real quick and then we have to move on.
Okay, Cogee. This is on, it's called statisticbrain.com, and it's death penalty statistics. And it says the number of U.S. states with the death penalty is 35. The total number of executions since 1976 is 1,226. Number of executions since 2010 is 38. Number of people released from death row with evidence of their innocence is 130, and this was updated on May 6th.
Okay.
And then they also have, the races of the defendants who have been executed.
Okay.
White is 56%, black is 35%, Hispanic is 7%, and other is 2%. So the highest number of executions in a year, it looks like, was in 1999. They had 98. So, and there was something else that was really executions by method. The lethal injection was 1,052. Electrocution was 157. Gas chamber is 11. Hanging is 3, and firing squad was 3.
Okay.
And there's more too, if you'd like. And
well, we'll have to come back to it. I have to move
okay,
right now.
okay.
We'll definitely come back to it. I want to thank you for it. Ms. Peaches, do you have anything before we move forward?
Cogee, I would like you to move forward with your interview with Nick Yarris. I know he has a lot of information to get out.
Okay. All right, I'll do that. So, you know what? Before I bring Nick in, I want to tell you, Nick has definitely been a ray of light through my show, him and Jeffrey and the crew. Because let me tell you something, when Nick don't hold back. Nick is really going to say it like he feel it. Nick's been through a lot, but Nick really has a big heart, and he's one of those guys, like I said, I look forward to talking to because I know he's going to bring it, him and Jeffrey and the rest of the crew. They don't hold back. They feel like, hey, holding back is the problem. We're going to put it out there. We're going to let it be known. And we come to save some lives. We are not playing. So, I'm going to go to Jay right now. And, Jay, you can go ahead and give the red carpet, for Nick. And I definitely want to get Nick in. And I want our listeners out there to get your pens and your paper and get ready, for a great interview today. And like I said, my man Nick, he has a great book that's out, 7 Days to Live. We're going to talk about his book, and we're going to talk about how he brought everything to life and, his past and how he came full circle to do great things. Go ahead, Jay.
Wrongfully convicted, Nick Yarris faced the electric chair after being framed in 1982 for the rape and murder of a woman in his native Pennsylvania. He spent 8,057 days behind bars, much of it in solitary confinement, before DNA evidence finally cleared him and he was released in 2004. Mr. Yarris is joining us today for a return visit to talk about his book and about his life on death row called 7 Days to Live. We want to welcome Nick Yarris to the show.
Hello to Las Vegas.
My man Nick, what's up with you, man?
Hey, Cogee, it was so nice to catch up with you again. It's so lovely.
Oh, yeah, you know what? And I appreciate you, but you've been seeing what I've been writing you, right?
Yes, sir. I really did. I was so touched by your Facebook message because I know you're busy, and I know a lot of people don't get this. Your radio show is just a small part of your life, but it's a huge part of who you are. And I and that takes a lot for a man like you to stay in contact with a lot of guests that have been on your show and show graciousness. And it's a very nice act. And that goes a long way, because I think everyone to a person can always say, when I did the man's show, he showed me so much love and respect that I felt like it was something that was good for me. And that's a good thing for you, young man. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. I do appreciate it. But, you know, like I told everybody a minute ago, that is personal with me. Y'all my new family members. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I believe that.
It might not be by blood, but it's by love. And that's the way I really feel about that situation. And when I see Jeffrey write things, you know, hey, I'm supporting Jeffrey. Hey, go Jeffrey. Everybody support Jeffrey. Why? Because Jeffrey is really out there, and y'all are really hitting the pavement, and y'all going out of the box of doing certain things to make things happen. And that's how we got to do it. But Jeffrey's on the phone with us right now as well. Jeffrey, you want to say hello to Nick?
Hey, Nick, how you doing, man? I see you're doing great things over there in Europe.
Oh, thank you, sir. I was very proud of what you did Wednesday. I thought your speech was very well put together for yourself. I'm very happy that Jeffrey and I use our voice for a reason. We don't go around glorifying ourselves. What we're doing is reminding America that this happens every day. The United States government admits that they get it wrong 3% of the time. Well, there are 2 million people incarcerated in the United States right now. So that means that there's roughly 60,000 innocent people in prison right now. And if you translate that to families like Jeffrey and I, you add in all of our families. So we're talking hundreds of thousands of people right now who are affected by innocent people.
Wow, you're definitely right about that. You are definitely right about that. You know what? But I want to say this, you know, and I want to ask you right now, what has really been keeping you sane and keeping you focused? Because I see on the Facebook, you know, you really put your heart out there on a lot of stuff that you're going through, but you stay focused on this goal. What keeps you so focused, Nick?
I honestly, I have responsibilities to so many people. I have a friend that lives with me now, and it's been so rewarding that his life has come into ours and now made it better. So it's just a reminder again that I have so many people that I am responsible to, that I don't have a right to be negative. I don't have the right to go around, because so many people have believed in me now that I have to go forward and do this. I see what Jeffrey's doing in New York, and I applaud his efforts, because so many people believe in Jeffrey. So many people believe in you, Cogee. Why do you get up in the morning? It's the same thing. So our lives were different, and you didn't go through the devastation that me and Jeffrey Deskovic went through. But in the end, what we all came to the same conclusion is that our lives are not just ours alone. And this is what is really empowering to us. I have the love of my life in Jessica. I plan on getting married 10 years to the day that they let me out of death row. I want to fix my life with love, not with aggressive acts and loud, boisterous voices. I want to go about it with decency and kindness.
That's right. That's right. And compassion.
And compassion, because I want everyone to recognize that every time I speak, the man who committed that crime is still free somewhere on this planet, and that victim's family is still being trounced to this day by a lie that was once told about me being the murderer of their family member. And that's a hardship that truly bothers me, because I was the only person when I was released to fight for the victim. How wrong about that? We talk about all of the wrongful convictions, but what a wrongful conviction is, and a lot of people in society don't recognize, is it is a crime that is again reopened, and there is another criminal who has to be prosecuted, but they don't want that. So we have a double standard in this country where exonerations are rare, but convictions after exonerations are even harder, because they don't want to fix their mistake. And that's a telling story of our society.
Right. You're definitely right about that. But you know what, real quick, V, I want you to give Nick some love and tell him hello, and, you know, you appreciate him and all that good stuff that we talked about, and you said you wanted to tell him, so he's here now. And then I'm going to Miss Peaches, and then we're going to move forward with Nick's story. Go ahead, V.
Hi, Nick. I really appreciate you being on the show, and just your positive attitude, and you're just an inspiration. And so many people can learn from you. So many people can learn from you. You've been through hell and back, and you keep on going. And it's amazing.
Well, I appreciate those kind of comments, but I learn from people like you how to keep my head down because, see, it's a very strange thing that I do. It's very hard to step forward and speak in public in Hyde Park or before 400 students this Friday in a school. It's going to be very difficult always to do those type of things, but when I realize that someone like you gets it, someone who just said those lovely words to me, I remember all the reasons why I should keep trying, because we have to do this. At the end of the day, good is going to win. I don't care how evil a leader is around the world, he's going to still have a birthday party for his children or a celebration for his wife or some crazy stuff. So good's never going to die. And I want you to know that when you say things like that to me, miss, that matters. That truly matters. And I'm so thankful of it.
Well, thank you. You matter.
Right.
I really appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you. Miss Peaches.
Hey, Nick, I'm so glad you're back on the show.
Hello.
Hello. One thing I just want the audience to know about Nick, if they didn't catch you the first time around on the show, and what Cogee and our whole team, watched when you were released, Nick. You said, "Screw it, I'm going out on the city hall yard, and I'm going to take my megaphone and I'm going to talk about what's wrong. I'm going to shout and scream to the rafters until somebody sits up and pays attention to me and understands that there is a killer out there, a rapist out there, and they are not, they're free to do, again, what I was blamed for. And, I love that about you. That shows your courage, your heart, and, we root for you to keep going hard and keep being your story alive and your big voice alive.
Well, thank you so much, because it's been really difficult. I've been trying to launch my book, 7 Days to Live and 7 Days to Love, both books. And it's been very hard because I don't have a lot of support. But I recognize that there's people like you who truly want me to succeed with it. So I'm doing the best I can. And effectively what it is Cogee is giving me my chance, because somewhere today in Las Vegas, maybe someone hears this and they know someone and they get the book reviewed in a newspaper or something like that, and it helps carry forward this positive. See, I'm not trying to do this for myself and my own self-glory. I've been in every kind of situation you can imagine since being released, to being around celebrities and being in films and stuff. I don't want glory. I want to do what Cogee's doing. I want to bring the world a little bit more better of an effort from myself, and hope at the end of the day it matters.
That's right. You're definitely right about that. And you are doing that, Nick, and I mean that. That's why I definitely want to bring you back through. I told you, as soon as you get your book up and going, let me be the
yes,
first
sir,
person.
You did promise. You said soon as, and that's why I want all the listeners to know, Cogee's actually in my second book. I used that man's name because it's such a lovely and unique name. I said to my partner, Jesse, I said, I'm putting Cogee's name in there. She said, you can't do that. I said, listen, I can't use somebody's name because it might be offensive to them, but I'm putting big man's name in the book.
Hey, you know what? And I appreciate that. Now, see, Miss Peaches, there it is. Somebody did think about me, Miss Peaches.
Okay, maybe I was wrong. Thank you, Nick, for that percentage, that small percentage of a person that does, give back to Cogee, and just give him a little love. I mean, everybody needs a hug sometimes,
Yes, damn right.
That's right.
That man believed in me even before any book was released this year, and he gave me a chance to have a voice that I hadn't had for 3 years now. Cogee knows my story personally a lot more than anybody else would know. But and the thing is, that's the graciousness of this man. He ain't letting on. He already know I was struggling. He knew I was going through. And I have a spinal injury. It was very difficult for me. But for 4 hours, I stayed in the ring with the big man. And I love that. I love the fact that we went through all that together.
That's right.
And it's a very genuine moment between friends.
That's right. You're definitely right about that. And I told you, I ain't going to give up on you. I got love
for you.
No,
sir. I know that. We're going all the way. I can't wait for you to get your TV show, because I promised I will be one of your first guests, and I hope Jeffrey comes with me, because I think that would be wonderful. I have so much respect for, a lot of people don't know this, Jeffrey Deskovic went to prison at the age of 17, just a mere boy. And that man came out very eloquently educated. And this is the sounding message that he and I share for students all over America. Your education is going to be the thing that gets you through your mother having cancer, your people going through financial difficulties, all these hardships. The only way you can help them is by educating yourself. And if you don't believe me, listen to Jeffrey Deskovic speak now from when he was speaking as a 17-year-old. This is someone who worked very hard to be a very good speaker, and I respect that.
That's right. And he definitely did. But, Miss Peaches, hey, you also know Jeffrey didn't forget about me either. Give him some love.
No, of course not, Jeffrey, and you know that. Okay, so you guys are proving me wrong. Dang it. I always want to be right sometimes.
Hey, Nick and Jeffrey, they definitely been there in my corner, you know, when I need them. And that's why I said whenever I see them on Facebook, and I know when y'all struggling, because I know y'all personally, and I know the way y'all write. And with me hearing y'all's voice on the radio, when y'all write, I can still hear y'all's voice. And that's when I feel it's an obligation for me as a brother in arms and a friend. And like I said, if I call myself a family member, I take time to sit down and write you guys and let you know, hey, I got love for you. Keep going. I'm proud of you. You're doing a great job. Don't give up. You know, Nick, think about something this way. Or sometime I'll write the public to let them know y'all's hearts, you know, on things that y'all said. You know what I'm saying, Jeffrey?
Mm.
Absolutely, Cogee. Absolutely.
What would you like to say to Nick real quick, and then we're going to move forward, Jeffrey?
Yeah, I sort of say to Nick, you know, I mean, as hard as it is to be wrongfully incarcerated, I mean, it's that much more intense to be to death row and then to have been in there for so long like Nick was, and, you know, just the strength he has is incredible. It's awe-inspiring to me.
Well, that's very gracious of you, young man. But like I told everybody, I'm one of your biggest fans because I worry about you. I know you have this genuine desire to change so much because you still see those young men and friends that you had in prison. That's right. Who were there when you sleep at night. I know this, Jeffrey, and I'm sorry to do this personally on air, but I want you so much to know I don't want you to succumb to the survivor's guilt that we both suffer from. And I know it's hard for you at times, and I know you get down because you've been telling me it's frustrating. No one seems to listen. But the people who truly hear you are all around you, that's right, immediately around you. You don't need the world to listen to you, just the few that really need you. And I don't want you, now that things are changing in your life, to lose feeling like you're going to have to make a decision that doesn't involve you going at this 24/7, because you've been pushing yourself so hard.
Yeah.
And I apologize again that this is personal between you and I, Jeffrey, but please just take some time and take care of yourself as well. Because I just got through a period where I struggled so hard to please everybody that I was destroying myself. And I found that I needed that time for myself to heal as well, because I can't help anybody if I'm not healed. So I'm sorry for doing that, but I love you enough to do that in front of millions of people who could be listening, sir.
No worries, Nick. I know that was from the heart.
All right.
I know that.
And you know what? You hit it on the nose, Nick, because the same is in reverse for me. I was pushing so hard that, man, I almost had a nervous breakdown because I was worried about who I wasn't touching and who I wasn't reaching, but wasn't nobody loving me. And one thing I can say about Miss Peaches, she always tell me, you ain't getting the love back that you putting out there for people. You need to slow up a minute and regroup everything. And that's what we ready to do. We ready to regroup everything, and we come into everything in a way. And like V, you know, she tells me all the time, I want you to rest. Just take a nap just for 2 or 3 hours a day, but don't go so hard over something that we can't control. You know? And that's true. And that's, you know, that's why, like I said, with you guys, I go all out for y'all because I know y'all down for me. And we supposed to start the bonfire to get things going, to get people listening. But we got to stand up and we got to speak and we got to be accountable for each other's actions. Meaning as when I write on Jeffrey's board, when I write on your board, I'm showing people that I'm still being accountable for y'all off the air. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. I think everybody gets that. I would like to take a moment to just thank your staff, because I don't think a lot of people recognize it. It's very difficult to organize a lot of things, but your staff, especially Jay, has been so nice to me, and it means something to me because This isn't easy. I don't know if a lot of people could even feel comfortable speaking on the radio, but a lot of people have trouble speaking in public. And I really feel that it's so nice of people like Jay and the rest of your staff to make the effort for everyone who comes on your show to feel welcome. So that counts too. So thank you to them.
Thanks,
Now
Nick.
let's move on, Cogee, and let's tell everyone why I am on your show, sir.
Yes, we will, sir. We're going to talk about a great book called 7 Days to Live. And that's what I want to talk about, because I'm bringing you back again. You know what I'm saying? And we'll talk about everything else. But your book right now needs to be the focus of our discussion today, the book.
That is very gracious of you. And for the listeners who haven't heard yet, my name is Nick Yarris, and I wrote my first book called 7 Days to Live, about the 23 years that I spent in solitary confinement, 21 years of that on death row waiting to be executed. I wrote the story in a context of trying to imagine myself before a blank white wall, with having my audience stand with me facing that same wall. And then I introduced the people who were very instrumental in my development in prison and on death row throughout the journey. So I didn't make it about myself, and I didn't make the story about telling some horrifying sadness. What I did was I tried to thread together the context of what happened to me as a child that ruined my life, made me become a drug addict, made me become a person who could be put into prison to be falsely accused of a murder. And then I showed how I turned towards all of the things that I could do for my family by developing myself so I could have a voice for them when I got out. And that's what I tried to accomplish with the book. I wanted to make an effort to say back to the world, I went to prison ruined because I had done stupid things with my life and squandering my education. But I truly worked hard to pay for all the mistakes I made as a young person while educating myself so that my parents and my siblings, who all went through hardship on the street, could have someone come out and speak eloquently for them. Recently, I put a video on YouTube that is called "My Mother Believed in Me While I Sat on Death Row." And it's a home video I made before my mother died. And she made diagrams of the crime scene. And she used to have her own investigation going. And she would write thousands of letters to senators and all kinds of people. And people used to abuse her on the street and spit in her face and call her the mother of a murderer and stuff like that. And that kind of messaging that I wanted to leave out there was a reminder of how hard it was. So when I wrote the book, I wanted to also show it wasn't just me. It's never one person involved. And that's the thing. You see the people who are going to prison in handcuffs, but you don't see their family at night getting the terrifying phone calls, letting them know that they spawned a murderer, so let's torture you. And that was hardship. So I finished that book, and this year I incurred a very serious spinal injury that's stopping me possibly from being able to write in the future, which is a shame. But I managed over 3 weeks this year to write a second book called 7 Days to Love. And that book is the 10 years of my recovery since prison. And on January 16th, 2014, if I live to be on that date, I will defy the odds that say that 80% of men who have served more than 20 years in solitary confinement all try to kill themselves. This is a phenomenon that is unreally addressed in society because so many people can't appreciate it and so few people live that long from society. And it's a shame. In so many ways, I was challenged by what everyone else believed I must be in the wake of serving so much time. Not a lot of people can appreciate the complexity of the psychological challenges it has been for me to adapt to society, reconnect with human beings, and not be overwhelmed by sheer sorrow. Because I lived for so long in isolation, I had adapted to a world where feeling never truly could affect me on a day-to-day basis. Because I had been able to shut off, I had made myself insulated from the pain around me. But I had to let go of that to love. And in order to be a good person in society, you have to endure a lot of sorrow. It just goes on. And I do appreciate that I've drifted off from 7 Days to Live, but I wanted to make that connectiveness to show that I wrote the first and second books in the same thread. I wanted to make the point that I show who I educated myself to become in prison in my first book, and then I show how I clung to that when I met Jessie. See, she read my first book in 2009, and about a year after that, she contacted me on Facebook and said, you know, I'm so glad you wrote your book, and it was such a nice story, and I'm so happy for you. And I wrote to her and I said, actually, I'm not very happy in my life, because I went through devastation after my child's birth, where my partner developed postnatal depression and everything was blown apart in my life. And I felt really alone and isolated. I was actually leaving England. And then this wonderful girl expressed all that love to me for my book. And like a fool, I wrote her a nasty reply. And I chastised her for that silly belief about me. And she wrote back an even nicer reply, which made me feel even worse. And so I contacted her, and we began a simple romance that was going to only last for a springtime while I sold my house in England to go home and take my brother to California, because my mother was dying of Alzheimer and my father was truly overwhelmed, and I was doing the dutiful thing as a son to get my brother away. But I couldn't stop love, and love clung to me. And Jessie, I know it was crazy, but at the age of 20, she decided that we were going to be together. And from that point, 3.5 years ago, we changed the direction of my life because we fell in love. And so we got a house near her family. And I did everything I could for the last 3.5 years to be a very good part of her family, because I want that. You know, that matters to me.
That's right.
So just when I thought I had lost everything, this girl comes into my life and becomes this wonderful beacon of hope for me. And I turn away from all the anger that I was feeling again, because since my release, I have truly gone through a rocket ride of every human emotion one could imagine.
That's right.
From sorrow so deep that I was pressed not to hurt myself, to joy so happy that it just exudes from my pores. And the shame of it is, I had to go through all that to appreciate someone like Jessie in my life. So now I have everything stable in my personal life while I still go through personal torment from other factors in my life. But just knowing I got friends like you, Cogee, and someone in Jessie, and someone that I know in all the friends that I truly can count on, I got the things I most need.
That's right.
Now all I got to do is spread the message of love that I've been taught, and share what I've been taught to believe in about myself. Because I want to go back to that video. That video was the one thing that reminded me at a time. I didn't need anybody else to believe in me while my mother was alive. That woman fought her ass off for 23 years to help me. And no one else needed to believe in me. But now that she's gone, I believe in me because she taught me that.
That's right. And you know what? I'm so glad that you found Jessie. You know, you found somebody that loved you and care about you, man. I mean, we all want that. You know what I'm saying? And she saved your life. You know what I'm saying?
In a lot of ways, because Cogee, and it's a sad thing to say, but this is one of the things that only keeps a prisoner alive. The bond's outside. The only hope you have is the hope that you have for the family you love outside. And I needed that again because I've been detached from my child. I've gone through all these difficulties with my professional career. I haven't been a success in the ways that I was meant to be. And from all that disappointment, I was so angry. I was leaving England as a loser. I came to this country with nothing but a promise by someone else. And I came with a good heart, and it didn't work. And I was leaving in sorrow. And I didn't want that. And God took that from me. And I really believe in that. You know, recently I went to Hyde Park and I stood for 2.5 hours and I spoke 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
And people from all over the world came up to me. And I had 50 and 60 people around me at some points. And some of them had to touch me. This is strange to me. They had to hug me and embrace me when I finished my speaking because they had felt so much of this emotional connection to what I was expressing to them that they felt it. And I loved that. And then this last week, I went there on a rainy Sunday, and people piously stopped and politely helped me at times when I faltered. And that is a show that it is never just me. I'm just reflecting back to society what I'm getting. See, I'm no hero. I'm no wonderful prophet. I'm none of those things. All I am is a wonderful antenna who picks up all the signal that is being sent from someone like you sitting there right now with your headphones on, Cogee, putting out this effort. Right. See, I'm feeding off you because I need that. I need to believe that the two of us are going to be stronger than either one of us alone because I can't do this. And I know you need me.
Yes, I
just
do.
Like that. Yeah.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And that's why I call on you and Jeffrey when I do things like this. And, you know, I do need that. And I think more men need to be accountable for more men. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
We do, because we can help each other be better men in the household, better men in relationships, better men in public, better men, you know, being role models. And you're definitely right about that. But I want to do this real quick, Nick, because, you know, time is winding down, and I want people to hear this from you. Can you explain how you weren't allowed to speak for 2 years? Real quick, and then I'm going to move on a little bit, you know.
Yes, sir.
Because I want
in,
hold on,
in
hold on, Nick. Hold on, Nick.
Wait a minute. In early 1983. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Wait a minute, Nick. Wait a minute. 1 second. The reason why I want you to explain this certain part is because you speak so great right now, and you speak openly, and you're not shy at all to speak on your life and everything that's going on. But I want you to take them back, rewind the tape, and let them see what you've been through. You get what I'm saying? I'm
yes,
sorry.
Sir.
Go ahead, my friend.
When I got off the prison bus in Huntington Prison, I was taken by 4 men and lined up against the wall. The lieutenant who ran death row at the time was a hard-ass, very military-looking guy. I was only 21 years old. I was scared, but I didn't want to show it, and I didn't know what was coming. The man walked up to me amongst the 4 officers who were surrounding me, and he told me that I was dead, that all the family members I had were dead, and anybody I knew was dead. And since I, too, was dead, I wasn't allowed to speak in his unit. And when he asked me, did I understand what he meant, and I attempted to speak, to answer him, he backhanded me across my face really hard and almost knocked me to my knees. They took me in my cell, put me in the cell after a nice roughing up, and they left me there. And for the next 2 years of my life, I kept my mouth shut, because if I opened my mouth, even in my cell, 4 officers would go in, hold me down, and a nurse would stab me in the ass with a needle with Thorazine, and you would lose a week of your life and you wouldn't remember anything. Huntington Prison was the only prison at that time ever condemned by the United Nations for its active practices of torture, for this methodology of keeping prisoners in silence. I spent 2 years waiting to speak. I got beat on my 22nd birthday for singing happy birthday to myself. I lost a tooth over it. But I felt if I ever got this chance to have my voice again, I would never use it and squander by being an angry voice. I wouldn't let them take that from me. So I would sit in my cell and quietly practice speaking, never to lose my voice. I swear that's what I did.
And that's why I want people to know they really need to read your book, because Nick and Jeffrey, y'all both know it's a lot of men that ain't been able to hit the airwaves to tell their story like y'all telling right now. And, you know, what do you think about that, Jeffrey?
I think that you're spot on. You know, there's a lot of people that are not as fortunate as Nick and I. They're still incarcerated now wrongfully. They haven't been exonerated. You know, a lot of them probably don't even have an innocence organization or attorneys or even just civilian advocates, working for them. And there's a lot of people who never do get exonerated.
There's one sitting there right now named Walter Ogrod. Everybody needs to look up his name. He was falsely convicted after a man named John Hall, the bishop. They called this man the bishop because he took so many prisoner confessions and was used as a professional witness by the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office because Walter Ogrod was innocent. And I sat next to him and it broke my heart. And I fought for years, and his case nearly made me want to kill myself in sorrow and anguish because I couldn't help him. Orgod, Walter J. Ogrod. He sits on death row with two men who nearly murdered his brother, and did murder his sister-in-law to be. When I met Walter, they were abusing him. People were taking advantage of this man because he was falsely convicted of a little girl. And I had to step forward and try and help this man, despite no one respecting me, because they used to think that I was a psychotic murderer who went out and stalked a woman I never met. So yes, Jeffrey, he is absolutely correct. Walter Ogrod is someone I know personally who sits on death row to this day who doesn't belong there. I live with that every day.
But Nick, let me say this real quick, and we're gonna make it quick. Help our listeners understand when a person going in on a rape charge, or you go in where you done something heinous to a kid or whatever. What is your life like in prison?
The word you learn is called deference. When you are treated with deference for being convicted of a psychological-based murder, including that of a child or that of a complete stranger that you sexually attacked, as in the case that I was accused of, people from top to bottom treat you with deference. So if the guards beat you up, the nurse treats you even worse with deference because you're a mental patient. You have no feelings that they recognize. You have nothing that they connect to in any way. I've had the worst treatment from the medical staff you could imagine. I want to tell you a story, Cogee, I never told on the air. 4 minutes of my life. See, I escaped from death row in Pennsylvania, and I was on the FBI's 10 most wanted list for 25 days. I handed myself back in to authorities, and they put me on death row down in Florida next to Ted Bundy for 8 months before they brought me back to Pennsylvania. When they brought me back to Pennsylvania, they waited a year to get revenge for me for escaping. They came by every couple of months and reminded me it was coming and that they hadn't forgotten that I escaped from death row. They took me by my arms, handcuffed, up to a property room that was opposite death row in Huntington. And they had the lights on in this big room that all the prisoners on the second level of B block could see. And 4 men beat me for 4 minutes of my life. They detached my retina. They crushed my face pretty good. They beat me badly. They broke my teeth. I peed blood for a week. And the worst treatment was the nurse afterwards. See, they drugged me down in my own urine and blood and put me in my cell. And the nurse came. And when she came to my cell, she said, "Mr. Yarris, would you like an aspirin? Maybe you'd like to get one in Florida when you escape next time." And then she turned and walked away. See, it wasn't a prison guard wearing a uniform. They had conditioned that poor woman in that environment to treat me with the word deference. So, sir, that's what happens when someone's convicted of a rape and murder of a crime they didn't do, because we're taught to hate that image so much that even though we weren't there on the street, we did not witness that man's crime, we have to inflict our own righteousness upon his body.
Yeah, you definitely, you're right about what you're saying. I mean, and people, you know what, and that's what I'm telling people right now. Nick's story is definitely a movie. And I can't get any help. No, it's crazy. I can't get any help. I have a great friend of mine named Mark Millicent trying very hard to shop the script in Los Angeles. And it goes like every other thing. Wonderful story. Nobody can believe that
I recovered from a brain injury at 7, went to prison at 21, spent 23 years, escaped from prison, the first prisoner on death row in America to ask for DNA, 15-year-long battle to seek DNA, asked to be executed for a crime I didn't be committed, and then get DNA to exonerate me, and then all this other madness after my release, and everyone says, wonderful movie, but we don't have money to make it. Or we just don't know the right people to help you, or we just can't make money enough off of you, Mr. Yarris. So it's strange. I have tried very hard to recognize I have a valuable story to sell to Hollywood. I know that, but I can't get there. I don't know why.
But Nick, you know what? I got you covered.
I know that. I know if I keep being pious and decent, it's going to work.
No, I know somebody. I want to talk to you off the air. Me and Jay gonna give you a call, and we gonna handle this. I thought you already had it covered. That's why
I've been struggling. I can't even get representation. That's why I've been doing all these things on my own. Jesse and I don't work. This is shameful. We've been really struggling. A lot of people don't understand this, but I lost my job, and as an American in England, I'm not entitled to any workman's compensation. So Jessie got bullied out of her job by doing press over here in England because her boss told her that a silly little English girl should keep her mouth shut about her partner's history and not talk to the press. So we haven't had any good luck for a long time. But that's not why I'm here. I'm not going to cry about my sorrows and what isn't going right. Because even though we don't have anything, we have taken someone in and made our lives richer for that, because that's who we are.
That's right.
I don't care how down we get. We're going to always keep going in that manner.
That's right. Let me do this, Jeffrey. Let me do this for a minute, Nick. I just want to tell you on that situation. Don't worry about that. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that off the air. I got you covered. As far as the script and stuff you want to do for that, because we need to make this hit the movie screen, because this can open the door for a lot of other exonerees, and that's the way I'm looking at it. This is something that needs to be done. I know who to talk to when I go to LA. I'm gonna reach out to this person when I get off the air today, and maybe we could set up a meeting with this person. And
I have a script ready. We have the storyboards. Okay. I'm working with Mark Millicent, who's a wonderful producer who's doing movies for a long time. We have contact with the De Laurentiis company so far, but everything is production, like hopefulness. And all right, so we'll get to that. Okay. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, we'll get to that. Let's do this. We down to 2 minutes. We down to 2 minutes, but I want you just to have a minute of it, and then I got to close. But I'm going to bring you back through, because it's a lot that didn't get said today, and it needs to get said. But me and you going to move forward on this movie. And then I'll be talking to Jeffrey. All right.
I'll be talking to Jeffrey also.
And then I'll give it back to you, sir.
Go ahead.
I want to thank my family in Pennsylvania, especially Chris Larson, I know, has made a real effort lately to reconnect with me. That's another gift I've gotten by re-releasing my book. Family members have come back to me, and I've had a good chance of making good things. And I have a very good opportunity at Cambridge University on Monday to do a great presentation for them there. And I have some other bookings here in the United Kingdom. If anybody in the United States would like me to come to your university to speak, please contact me. In the meantime, if you could look me up on Amazon or on Facebook, I really would appreciate it. And I want to send all my love out to Las Vegas and thank all of you people in the area for listening today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, I want to say to all my guests today, I want to say to Jeffrey, thank you for being a part of the show today, as always.
Thank you, Cogee, for having the show.
All right.
Love you, Jeff.
All right, love you guys too.
All right. Mr. Ron Keine, I want to thank him for being on today. And Mr. Nick Yarris, you already know, man, I got you back. Let me tell you something.
I love you, boy.
Hey, much love to you too, man. Whenever you and Jeffrey are struggling with something, I'm always there for y'all. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that I see this through for you, because this is a movie that needs to be made. It will open a lot of doors and change a lot of hearts, all right?
Cogee, I'm sending you autographed copies on their way, man.
Okay, all right. So me and you going to talk off the air. So just give me time to leave out, and we're going to give you a call real quick. I got a plan. So I want to thank everybody for listening today, and I want to thank all the listeners out there who support me. Much love to you guys. And this has been I've Been Falsely Accused, Part 8. Hey, we all need somebody to lean on, all right? And that's why I do this. Much love, guys.